Hello, fifth graders. Welcome to lesson 4.2, Multiply Decimals by Whole Numbers. Let's get started. Today's objective is I can evaluate multiplication of multi-digit decimals times whole numbers using place value with 100% accuracy in multiple attempts. Pause now to type your I can and by statement into your digital math notebook. All right, friends, go ahead and put your pencil down for just a moment and watch me do math. In today's lessons, we are going to multiply a decimal by a whole number. We're going to be solving 8/100ths times 5. We have some steps to follow. It says, step 1, multiply the factors. So if we look here, we know that 8 times 5 is 40. So they wrote the number 40. Now we need to start at the right and count the number of place values that include a decimal. So if we go over here to the 8, then we start at the back and we count 1, 2. So there are 2 place values. So we label 0.08 has 2 place values of a decimal. Then step 3 says in the product, that's the answer. We start at the right and we count to the left the same number of place values, which was 2, and that's where we put our decimal point. So we start at the back and we count 1, 2, and that's where we put our decimal point. So our answer would be 0.40. So we know that 8 times 4 is 40, and it's just a matter of placing our decimal. This is a super important thing here that it says next. It says when we multiply decimals, we do not line up the decimals like when we add and subtract. Notice here that I didn't line up the 5 underneath the 1's place. I pushed everything over to the right and multiplied as if I didn't have any decimals. This is important to remember when we multiply decimals. Let's try a second example. In this example, we're multiplying 3/100ths times 2. So if we multiply like there's no decimals, we would do 3 times 2 is 6, 3 times 2 is 0, and 3 times 0 is 0. So then we would count 1, 2 decimal places, then go down to our answer and count 1, 2 decimal places. So our answer would be 0.06. So it's kind of like a fraction. However many places we have on the top is the same number of places we need to have on the bottom. Ready to try a problem with me? Let's go. Here is our next problem. We have the number 0.4 times 190. I'm going to rewrite this, and I'm not going to line up my place values. I'm going to write it with the bigger number on top. 190 is bigger. It has more place values. And then I'm going to write 0.4 underneath. And now I'm going to multiply just like normal, pretending that there's no decimals. 4 times 0 is 0. 9 times 4 is 36. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 3 is 7. Now the last thing that we need to do is we need to count our place values. 190 doesn't have a place value to count, but 0.4 does. It has 1 place value. So we would count 1 place value. So our answer is not 760, it's 76.0. Or we could just write 76. Let's try this again. In this next problem, we have 0.15 and 56. I'm going to write 0.15 on top, even though I know 15 is smaller than 56, because it has 3 digits. So the number with the most digits is going to go on top. Then 56 is going to go underneath. And again, I'm going to multiply like there's no decimal at all. So 5 times 6 is 30. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 3 is 9, and 6 times 0 is 0. Now we have a 2-digit number, so we need to start with a magic 0 before we multiply by the 5. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2 is 7, and 5 times 0 is 0. So we're going to keep going like this is a regular number. We have 2 digits on the bottom, so we have 2 rows of numbers that we need to add. 0 plus 0 is 0. 9 plus 5 is 14. 1 plus 7 is 8. And I'll leave that 0 there because we don't need it. But we're not done. Our answer is not 840 because we need to count our place values. 0.15 has 1, 2 place values. So down in the bottom, we're going to count 1, 2 place values, and our answer should be 8.4. We could also write 8.40, and that would be correct. Please pause now to type your answers into your digital math notebook. All right, friends. Time for our lesson activity. I'll go ahead and get you started. The first problem, we have 0.8 times 44. I'm going to line them up underneath each other. They have the same number of digits, so it really doesn't matter which one goes on top and which one goes on the bottom. Now let's multiply. 4 times 8 is 32. 4 times 0 is 0 plus 3. Start the second row with a magic 0. 4 times 8 is 32 again. 4 times 0 is 0 plus 3. There we go. And we're going to add our numbers, 2, 5, and 3. But we're not done. Last off, we need to count our decimal. We have 1 decimal place, so we're going to count 1 decimal place. So our number would be 35.2. Let's get started on the next one. I'm going to put 60 on top. Times 1.5. I'll get you started and then you can finish. 0 times 5 is 0. 6 times 5 is 30. Then we start with a magic 0. 1 times 0 is 0, and 1 times 6 is 6. We're going to add these numbers together, and then we're going to count our place value 1 place. So think about what your answer should be. It needs to include 1 place. So I have 0, 0, 9. So is my answer 900? Is my answer 90? Or is my answer 9? Think about how many decimals I need to move. Then type your answer into your digital math notebook. Great job, 5th graders. Make sure your notes are complete. Complete your exit slip, and then be ready to see your teacher at the table. Great job!